Hello everyone. I thought I'd make a little bit of a video talking about Loom, which is one of our new screencasting apps. So here I am on my desktop. Now once you have Loom installed, it's pretty easy to get it started. We're just going to go over into Finder and then go right over into Applications and look for Loom. Once we have it, we'll just double click it and you'll notice there's a little icon for it up in your menu bar. Even when we close Loom, it'll still kind of hide out in the menu bar, so it's really easy to get to. So that's super convenient. Now there's three settings for Loom that I want to draw your attention to, and there I am in the corner. So we'll start with this one. This one is screen and camera. This is going to give you the ability to choose what you record. In this case, it's the screen and the front-facing camera. You can also choose to just record the screen as well as just the camera. Personally, I kind of like the screen and camera, so it allows you to put a face to whatever you're explaining. And speaking of your face to what you're explaining, you have your controls right down here for what camera you're using as well as which microphone. Now, this should be, by default, your built-in camera and your built-in microphone. But in case you do have a separate or an external one, you can choose it right here, or if you wanted to use your headphones or something like that, this is where you could change that setting. And what's great is you're going to know right away off the bat if you're muted or not. You can see my audio level jump right there as I talk. And since I have my camera on, I can see myself down there in the corner. And I can choose to record the full screen, just one window itself, and I can choose which app it is. So if I'm maybe recording something in Google Chrome versus maybe I was doing something in maybe Photoshop or something like that, or iMovie, I could just record that as well. So I can choose just one specific app. Very similar to what we see in Google Meet. And then I can also choose custom size, where if I click on custom size, I can actually click and drag within pretty much anything that's on the screen. And then I can go ahead and start my recording, and you'll see it'll actually superimpose your camera right on top of that area. So going back over into Loom here, you'll notice that it says my internet speed is very fast. When you're using Loom, you need to make sure you're connected to the internet, because it's going to automatically process your video and upload it and make it ready to share. So let's go ahead and just choose full screen right here, and let's do start recording. And you'll notice that it'll say starting. We'll get a countdown right here, and as soon as it gives you that little audible chime, you'll actually be recording, and you'll know that because you'll see the stop icon over here in the back. We also have a restart if you want to kind of just take another take at it. We can pause the recording, which is a really neat feature. You don't see that in even just Apple's QuickTime. We can cancel this recording altogether, and probably one of the really helpful tools is we have the draw tool. So here, if we want to specifically draw something or highlight one area that we want people to look at, we can just click on it and click and drag and kind of mark up whatever it is that we want to draw attention to. We can choose the thickness of whatever type of line we're looking for. So if we want to maybe make it just like a little bit thinner, or if we want something much thicker, we can do that. And when we're done, we can just click on done, and that'll go away. And then once we've finished our screen recording, we're just going to hit stop recording. And what's great is it's going to open up automatically in your web browser. In this case, it's going to be Google Chrome. And it'll notice that we're logged into Loom over here with our account. And our video is already uploaded. That part is done. So it's there, and it's stored within Loom under the section here called My Videos, which is going to catalog all of your stuff. Once your video is actually uploaded and on Loom's website, then we can really kind of get into all the different bells and whistles that Loom offers. But let's start off with some of the basic things, like going ahead and sharing your video with somebody. They call it send your video, and right here is where you're going to get the copy link option. And you're going to take that link and put it wherever it is that you want to be able to share with people. So if you're doing it in Seesaw, it's going to be under the new or the add post button, and then you can choose link and you can drop that link right in there. If you want to be able to share it in Google Classroom, this is where you grab the link. Likewise for an email or anywhere else. You can even choose who is able to see your video. Maybe you want to make it so that anyone can see it, and it actually shows up in Google search, although I don't know how likely it is that it would be visible in Google search. It would still be possible. Or if you want to make it just so people with a link can see it. This is primarily the setting that we're going to choose. You even have the option to invite someone specifically to it, or you can add a password that they have to type in before they watch it, which is pretty helpful. We also have the ability to just retitle our video just by clicking in it. We can just go ahead and backspace that stuff out and enter our new title. Super easy. We can download the video locally to our computer. This wouldn't be a bad idea. You might want to think about doing that just so you have a copy of it. You could even take that copy and turn around and upload it to Google Drive just so you have an extra layer of your videos in the event that maybe one day we ever transition away from Loom or Loom closes or something like that. You'll have a copy of all of your screen recordings somewhere else. You can duplicate your video. We can delete it. And then, of course, we have the share option. And we can give someone a link. They even have a link to like a GIF, a certain section of your video, which is pretty neat. We can embed it in something. You see this in different things like Google Sites. And then, of course, we have Twitter, Facebook, and Gmail if you want to be able to email it directly to somebody. So those are all like really neat options. You can even have folders within the My Videos section if you want to split them up under different categories if you want to go that far. Now, let's take a look over here at the Edit section because that's where it starts to get a little bit interesting. Starting off with the settings section right here, once we go ahead and give it a click, we get to choose what people are allowed to do with the video. If we want people to be able to leave comments, if we want to get notifications about those comments, if we want people to be able to have the emoji reactions, these are pretty neat. As you go ahead and you let the video play, if you skip to a certain part and you want to kind of highlight whatever's happening there, maybe a thumbs up, something that you like or maybe don't like or are excited about, or maybe that you love, you can add all those little things in there and you can give people the ability to like add those in or not if you want to. You can have a thumbnail for your video, so as people scroll over it, they actually kind of get like a little bit of a preview, which is pretty neat. You might as well keep on the Loom player itself, which is where we're watching it. You can choose if you want people to be able to download the video or not. This could very well prove to be helpful depending on if you want students to be able to watch it again and they may not have access to the internet. So that's something that's on by default, and you might want to maybe consider leaving it there depending on how you feel about it. And then you can also choose to share the analytics with the viewer. So if you want to know how many, if you wanted to make it public for how many people can go ahead and watch that video. And then we can choose to save or cancel our choices there. Then we also even have a trim feature. Now this is something we'd normally have to go into a video editor like iMovie in order to accomplish, but here we can do it. So if we click on trim, we'll kind of get transformed over into their editing view, and we can click on where it says start trimming and we'll get started. And then what happens is here we have the ability to kind of highlight a part that we want to remove. And if you notice, it'll show what they call the timestamp right down here where the trim starts and then where the trim ends. Starting and ending right there. So in this case, we'd be getting rid of the portion here that's red. So we can go ahead and hit play, and it'll actually start to play from where we start here. If you notice, we already have a trim here that I did earlier. And if I want to get rid of that or edit it, I can click on where it says edit and I can drag it, or I can even remove that trim itself, which is super helpful. I can kind of just have my full video. And then when I'm done, I can go ahead and hit publish changes. It's going to take a moment for those changes to populate. Video editing is one of the more time-consuming tasks that you can do. In this case, it's only a short little video, so it's not too bad. But if you have a much longer one and you're cutting out larger sections, it might take a little while. But luckily, Loom goes ahead and they give you an idea of how long to expect. So just something to be aware of, that when you're doing an edit, if you see this screen, it's no problem. It's to be expected. Once it's done, you'll be presented with the play option again, and then you'll be able to play your video with the trim that you already made. And you'll probably notice if you take a peek at the time that the time is decreased by the length of the trim that you made. So just a neat section if you want to be able to cut a spot out. You do have the option as well, if you remember, when we're in Loom, to be able to pause a recording if you get interrupted and then pick it back up. So trim is an easy way to cut out that one part, or you could even just stop your recording. But sometimes, especially as you're doing a screen recordings, don't get too caught up in getting it perfect right away. If you need to take a pause in your recording or something like that, go ahead and do that and then just continue, because thanks to this easy trim tool, you can always come through after the fact and take out that one little part that in some instances would cause you to record your entire video over again, depending on your level of comfort with like iMovie or something like that. This makes the editing process way easier with just that trim button, and hopefully will save you some time when it comes to preparing your screen recordings. Call to action is another really cool little feature that Loom offers. And when we go ahead and click on it, we get the option to kind of add a button on the screen. So let's say I want to direct someone's attention to go to a certain website. Let's say I want them to review maybe a video on YouTube that I happen to be talking about, or maybe it's a video that helps further clarify something I'm talking about in the video. I can just go ahead and I can name that text. I can say, check this out, perhaps. And then I have to choose where it's going to go. And it can be anywhere. You can link to a video, a website, something in Seesaw, something in Google Classroom. Anywhere you want to go, you can put a link to it right here. And then I can kind of choose what it looks like. I can change the color of it if I want to. And then I'll just hit save. And then what happens is, as we're playing the video and people hover over it, they'll get the option to be able to click on that call to action button. And when they click on it, it's going to open up a new tab and it'll bring them to whatever it was that you linked them to. So just a really helpful way to be able to put a little bit more information on the screen while not detracting from the video itself. And then lastly, we also have custom thumbnail, which is exactly what it sounds like. Normally for these videos, you'll see just maybe a certain amount of time from the video, like a timestamp is what we'll call it, where that'll represent like the content of your video. But if you want to have like a fancier thumbnail, for example, like something like a lot of people, we talk about this one YouTube channel, this Pocket Full of Primary. If you notice, their thumbnail here that says wedding update, it's got this really cool text and everything like that they designed in yet another program. But this one frame right here with their title and everything probably doesn't appear in the actual video. It's just the thumbnail representing the video. So if you just wanted to make a nicer looking representation of what's in your video, you could go ahead, make it in something like Pages and put it here to represent your video, just to make it look like a little more visually appealing. But those are the main features when it comes to editing your video, sharing it, giving it a title, and all like the bells and whistles that Loom has. If you have any questions about how to use this, or you're running into some problems, by all means, send us an email over at tech@sch.org and we'll get you taken care of.